Welcome back, sporting fans, to another spectacular episode of the Paint the Wall podcast. I, as always, am your host, Steve, and I am joined this week by a man who regularly takes his blood pressure at Walmart, but just for fun. But you all know him. That's Logan.
Yeah, it's a game to see how big of a score I can get.
Oh, that makes sense. I used to do that when I was little.
Yeah.
Anytime we go to Walmart, I'd run over there and take my blood pressure. I don't know why, but
I don't know. I mean, I never grew out of that. Now I just try to see how big of a score I can get.
High score. What's that mean? Did I break it?
Why are there sirens?
Speaking of, ironically enough, here's a blood pressure machine, right?
Oh, hey, nice. I probably need one of those. Well, I have one, but it doesn't work very well.
I was using it the other day. I don't remember why, but I was like, I should check my blood pressure, and we happen to have one of the little portable cuffs that don't work very well. So,
yeah. I mean, I do my little ECG on my watch about a dozen times a day because,
there you go.
You know, constant chest pains and.
Yeah, well, when you're old, you got to make sure you're not dying. Too,
yeah,
Yeah. So
anyway, if anybody knows why I'm having chest pains, let me know. I'd love to hear it. Anyway.
In the comments, hit us up, email, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
If there's any doctors or we do know one doctor who I think listens to this and is in the cardiac field.
Yes.
Her and her lovely family now live in Pittsburgh and hate us.
Yeah. So you know who you are. Tell me why I'm dying, please.
Yeah, give this man a call.
Please.
Anyway, speaking of high blood pressure,
yeah,
we had two games to talk about this week.
We did.
Both are wins. Mm-hmm. Also, we haven't given up a goal in a week.
Right.
So
good thing we signed that center back.
Yeah, right.
Still hasn't seen the field yet.
That's expected. I mean,
is it?
No, honestly, because Rosero played immediately. So what'd you say?
Players in LA do it all the time.
That's true. Yeah.
They get signed and then the next day they're starting.
Yeah, that's true. So. And like I said, Rosero, he did it immediately.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Maybe this guy actually sucked. Is he here yet? Honestly, yeah, he was in training. Yeah, he's here.
Oh yeah, he is. He was in training. Yeah.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about two games. Mm-hmm. We of course beat Orlando 3-0.
Yeah.
Something that, well, I almost saw coming. You did not. You had a 2-2 draw pick. I went 3-1, which, to be fair, if Orlando understood the offsides call, it would have been 3-1.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, to be fair, if Polito could make a penalty kick, I would have got the other game score right also.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but, we'll get there. We'll do Orlando first.
Okay.
Yeah, great game. 3-0. Yeah. That's definitely a good game back, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
What were your opening thoughts on this game?
I mean, this was a very surprising result, I think, in many, many ways. Very excited to see us getting back in the win column. A good result, scored 3 goals, didn't let up any, which I think is the more important statistic, as you highlighted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good game back. It's what we needed. If we're going to make a late season push, it's got to start. It has to happen now. Mm-hmm. We have to be winning basically every game for us to have a chance. So it's what we had to do.
Yeah.
Looked good doing it. I mean, there wasn't a lot of weaknesses. Our offense looked strong. Defense looked solid.
True.
It was good. It was a unique formation too.
It was. Now, I didn't get to watch this game live. I went to a concert on Saturday night, so I didn't get to watch it live. I did keep up with the score because, I don't know, my mindset's changed for obvious reasons throughout this season. Not to say that I care less. I don't care less. I just care less about if the game is spoiled.
Right.
I'm like, I know I'm going to watch this because it's sporting and I have to watch it. But honestly, I would rather know that we lost this game before I watch it.
Right. For sure.
So I was keeping up with the score, so I knew it was 3-0. I knew we won 3-0. But I watched it Sunday morning, bright and early. And I tell you, 6 minutes into this game, I was pretty sure that I saw a wrong score.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they were destroying us for the first probably 20 minutes of this game. I made the note at the 6-minute mark, but
I would say so.
I was like, how do we win this game 3-0? I just did
Right.
not, other than the opening kickoff, which Eric Tommy about scored.
Right.
But it starts. I didn't
About.
check the lineup either. I didn't do any of that. All I knew was the score.
Okay.
Didn't know who
Okay.
scored. That's not true. I knew Jake got another one.
Okay.
And I knew we scored late, but I didn't know who scored it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Sunday morning, I get up, do the routine, go to watch the game, and I check the lineup like I would. I went to Twitter to check the lineup, just like I would in a normal live game.
Sure.
And I went, does that say a song?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's. So
Mm-hmm.
this man hasn't played since he got a red card. And
Yeah.
Peter goes, all right, it's been 2 weeks. Go play midfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've not missed anything.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And probably the worst back four I possibly could have picked.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And I even put a note, probably means that this will work perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, let's take our worst options and put them out there. They probably won't give up any goals. And I'd be like, you know what? Honestly, that's probably what'll happen.
Yeah.
And it is what happened.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
just a wild. But after the first 20 minutes, everything kind of shifted. And then it seemed pretty obvious how this game was going to go.
Yep.
I thought for the rest of the game, really.
Yeah. Until the 70th minute mark, I would agree.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's fair.
Then some things changed.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I thought. Well, I mean, we can jump there if you want. We don't normally recap the entire game, so that's not really our thing. So, we can jump to what you're talking about. I don't care.
Sure, let's do it.
So
70th minute, Mr. William Agata decided he was done playing soccer.
Yeah.
That evening, and Peter wouldn't sub him out, so he said, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And earned himself what was initially called a second yellow, and then got turned into a red, which I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Because I think, like a lot of people, we're a little confused by that getting turned into a red. It didn't seem to meet the qualifications. It was a poor challenge. It was a very poor challenge and very worthy of a yellow. But it didn't seem like a red.
Okay.
So I'd love to hear what you have to say.
So I was thinking for sure. I had all these thoughts, obviously, and didn't text you about it because we do a podcast now. So it makes more sense to wait. And I was like, this is going to be the one time in most recent history that Logan and I agree on a red card call. Like, you and I never agree on red cards.
Amazing.
So naturally, my opinion of, yeah, that's absolutely a straight red card is not met with your opinion. So, of course.
That's insane.
Yeah, studs up. He went in way too high. He got him like halfway up the shin. I mean, yeah, I think it met pretty much all the criteria for a red card. I thought. So I kind of thought that initially. And then I was like, well, he'll probably just give him a yellow card because it's so it's essentially the same thing.
Right.
It's not the same thing, which is why they review it.
Yeah, 100%.
I figured that I'd be like, he's probably going to give him the yellow, which he did, to try to be nice. And I'm like, they'll probably review it. And I'm like, I think it's probably close enough that the VAR refs will be like, yeah, just let him have the double yellow and it'll be fine. But they said, nope, go look at it again.
Yeah.
And he went and looked and was like, yeah, well,
that's right.
Okay. So I thought it did warrant it. I would say maybe a little on the soft side. But I did think it rose to straight red.
Interesting.
I don't know. It did seem, it was really high up on the leg. It was studs up. It was pretty overly aggressive. Obviously, intent doesn't matter. But
yeah,
I don't know. I thought it should have been a straight red. I agreed with it.
Okay.
Of course, it wouldn't have mattered. It will matter for suspension purposes, but as far as that game goes, he was gone anyway. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, regardless, he still gets suspended the next game. I think him getting the red card, it goes into future suspension possibilities.
Yeah,
because it then opens up the conversation a little bit more, and it can, in a very outlying circumstance, have playoff implications as well. Because red cards is one of the tiebreakers. So that can affect playoff implications, although it's very unlikely to do so.
Right.
Because that's like the 5th one down on the list or something silly like that. So
Yeah. I think ironically enough, though, isn't yellow cards before red cards?
yes, 100%.
So him not getting that second yellow may actually help us before the actual red card would hurt us, ironically enough.
Yes.
So, which I mean, if we keep winning, it very well could come down to some sort of stupid tiebreaker like that.
It's possible.
To if we get into the playoffs or not, but
it's possible.
Who knows?
Yeah. I don't
know. Yeah, I mean, rest of the game kind of went the way it seemed like it was gonna go or had been going. Shallow's goal was fantastic.
It was a good one. It was a good team goal.
I have more. Yeah, great team goal. I had another note down here. I took notes. I have both games here in the same notes, so I got to find where I put all of them. I don't know why I do this to myself.
I don't either.
Where did I put that? I'll come back to it for obvious reasons.
Okay.
So, Nadembe. Nope, that was USOC game. Nadembe did not get the start in that game.
He did not.
I do want to know. Well, we can cover the other game because he played midfield in the second game too. So,
okay.
Johnny Russell gets his 100th goal contribution in MLS with his assist on Remy's, and I believe also Shallow's 100th contribution across all contests with his goal.
Very nice.
So double 100s there.
Congrats.
So that's nice.
Congrats to them.
Oh, I see what I did with my notes. That was dumb. Okay. I've started adding an additional talking point section because I have a lot of stuff that comes up from, you probably do too. I listen to other podcasts, other pods, some of those, Chad's podcast, some of our other ones. Sometimes they talk about stuff that I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that too. So, but I added additional talking points before the Open Cup game last night. So the second half of the Open Cup notes are in the additional talking points because I didn't pay attention to where I put those. So
perfect.
Awesome.
Nicely done.
Yeah. Anyway, great shot by Remy there at the end of the game. I have no idea what the goalkeeper was doing on that one.
I don't either.
No idea. That should have been such an easy save.
Yep.
Yeah. Wasn't, so who cares? 3-0.
Yeah.
Get a dub. So
take it.
Good win there. Anything else on this game you want to talk about?
No, not really.
Okay. We'll just fast forward right into our second game, last night's game, and arguably a bigger game. The semifinal of the U.S. Open Cup, Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, which is meaningful for us here in Kansas City.
Yep.
Noah Gata is strange to me.
I agree, especially considering the red card.
Yeah, he's not playing. I put, although we don't, oh no, I said he's not playing next weekend. We don't play next weekend. So, or this upcoming weekend, I guess.
Do we not? No. Okay.
No, we don't play again until the 7th.
Gross.
Yeah. Which I can't tell. Does that actually make it worse? Like,
we need to be playing games. We need to be winning.
Yeah, we need to be winning. We played Polito. One could argue. Well, I don't know. Originally, I was like, you'd think Agata would play here, especially with wanting to keep Polito fresh because he has to play the next game, except for the next game's not for a week and a half. So
that doesn't really matter much.
He's got plenty of rest. Agata's not going to play for like 2 weeks now, at least, if he doesn't get additional games, which I'd be kind of shocked if he gets additional games on this one. But so I'm like, what? This seems like a weird. He did end up playing a little, but he didn't start. It just seems weird.
That is very strange. He should have gotten the start, especially considering Open Cup. It's a good opportunity to get your younger guys playing.
Yeah.
And especially considering he is our main striker right now.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, this does actually bring us level on games played. We are basically a game in hand above everybody who we're going to be competing for that last playoff spot with. So that'll bring us level with everybody else. So we'll now be even on 27 games.
You mean having this weekend off?
Correct.
I got you. Okay.
So
that's good, I guess.
Yeah, this is the last time we'll have to sit out a weekend, but it hurts because we're currently 7 points outside of the playoff spot. So
is that with Orlando? The Orlando win?
Yeah, that's current standings.
So that's current standings. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're 7 points behind Austin at 9th, and then there are Dallas and Minnesota are 10th and 11th with 33 points each, so they're 1 point out of the playoff spot. And then we are 6 points below them with 27 points.
I believe we play Minnesota one more time. I don't think we play Dallas again, but
we definitely play Minnesota one more time because I'm going to that game. So.
There you go. I don't think we play Dallas again, but
I can't remember. They might be D-Day actually. We play a Texas team on D-Day. I know that. It is Dallas. Dallas. Is
so this could be a real big D-Day for us then.
It could be, yeah.
Of course, it'll be we need to win and 2 other teams need to lose. But
right, 100%. Yeah, we play Red Bulls, Seattle, Colorado, Minnesota, St. Louis, LAFC, and then Dallas.
Man, that's a rough stretch of games right there. That's a lot of good teams.
Yeah. And only 7 games left to make up 7 points.
Yep.
That's not a great recipe for success.
Nope. But we're playing the kind of soccer we need to be playing to get it done. So
yeah, we are.
Take it one game at a time and just do what you can control, you know?
Yeah.
You can only control your game, so.
Yep. Just win games. If the rest falls in place, it does. If not, oh well.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Indy 11.
Yep.
Who that game, we were definitely a stronger, more technical team that entire game.
100%.
Minus, I guess there's a little section there in the second half where Indy 11 had some chances.
Yeah.
But even then, our defense stepped up big. Tim Melia had 2 unreal saves. They just didn't seem. It did not seem from the get-go like they were going to win that game.
No, it definitely is one of those games which 100% odds did not stay awake for. So was watching while I was working this morning.
Sure.
But I mean, watching the game, it definitely felt like we came in a much higher clinical level of execution, performance, all of that. It definitely just felt odd. So I agree 100%. We looked like a stronger team from the beginning, and we never really gave them a chance to get into the game. So,
yeah. Which, I mean, good for us, you know?
Yeah.
Tommy hit the crossbar / post twice, pretty much right back-to-back almost, with a Johnny Russell goal right in the middle of it. We were just taking shots from outside the 18 just because why? It seems to be what we do. Believe we still lead the league in goals from outside the 18.
We 100% lead the league in goals and shots from outside the 18 for sure.
Nice.
Yeah,
I don't hate it because we keep scoring on them. So
yeah, no kidding.
You know why not?
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah. Rosero with a nice goal.
Yeah.
Beautiful ball from Remy on that one too. Just absolutely perfectly placed.
Yeah, very nice ball.
Also, again, one of those. I don't know what the goalkeeper's doing. You're 6'7".
Yeah.
You're 6'7". Just come get that. It's not a goal. It wasn't hit hard. It was like floated in there right in front of you. Come out and get it. What are you doing?
Yeah. I don't know. Nerves got to him, I guess. I don't know.
It's a thing. I mean, it's a thing in MLS that you've probably heard me bitch about 2 things consistently with goalkeeping at higher levels now. And one of them is, why don't you come out and knock down crosses anymore?
Right.
That used to be my absolute favorite thing to do. Again, I only played through, I guess, college level. I was not this high of level, so maybe it is different. And they don't catch stuff.
Right.
Everybody just punches everything. Nobody ever catches a cross or, nobody ever does it anymore. I don't get it.
Yep.
I've seen so many, even Tim Melia will punch a ball directly to the other team who then scores.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, if you just catch that like you're taught when you're 6, just catch it. What do you do?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know. Anyway, Memo's back.
Yeah.
On the bench, but
yeah. Which we, as we mentioned in our last episode, we have not gotten an injury report in quite a while. But we did get confirmation that that's why he was out for pretty much the entire Leagues Cup, was because of that quad injury.
Yeah, I think it was quad.
But yeah, so that's what's been hampering the entire time. So good to see him back on the lineup at least.
Yep. Shame he didn't get in. I would have much rather have seen him get in.
Yeah.
And Polito come out. I thought that was weird that they kept Polito in. Which I guess we can get to it now. That's what we're talking about.
Sure.
Let's see. Yeah, Johnny, those are the other ones. Yeah, PK awarded in the 94th minute.
Mm-hmm.
Good call, too. I thought it was a little bit of review to see if it was actually inside the box.
Right.
Turned out it was. Good PK.
Mm-hmm.
It gets saved, which figures, so I miss out on the correct score 2 games in a row.
No.
I'm like, come on. Honestly, it wasn't a great PK anyway.
No.
It was. I mean, credit where it's due. The kid saved it in a pretty big moment. He did get a save. I would never take away a PK save from a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a great shot.
No, not at all.
So I would love to have seen something a little bit better. But
agreed.
What are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah. At that point, it was semantics.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Johnny probably takes that if he's still in, to be fair.
Yeah, I think so. Johnny's pretty good at those.
But I would have let Agata take it anyway.
Yeah, I would have let Agata take it, and Shally was... Yeah, I would have let Shally take it, honestly. Shally's always been solid at PKs.
Oh, Shally's terrible at PKs.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? I have no idea.
That's how I was like, Shally's the last person I would let take it because he usually misses them.
Fair enough.
And at least I'm pretty sure it's Shally that has like notoriously been terrible at PKs. But I mean, I even had a picture. Somebody posted a picture on Twitter of Polito and Agata like both holding the ball right before the PK, and I'm like, this exchange should have gone a different direction than it did.
Right.
There should be some recognition of, oh, I haven't scored goals all year. You've been scoring all of them. So, yeah, you go ahead and take this.
Right.
But at the same time, Agata has a fascination with seeing how high over the bar he can kick the ball. So
yeah, he does like to see that for sure.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't matter. On to the final. September 25th. Here we come.
Yep. To Seattle or LA.
Yep. Seattle or LA. Now, point of order, if LA wins tonight, we do automatically qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League Cup next year because LAFC have already qualified.
Right.
So the champion, the US Open Cup champion, for those of you who don't know, also gets a bid to Champions League. However, LAFC already qualified because they made it to Leagues Cup final. So then it would go to whoever the other team is in that final, which is obviously us.
Right.
Now, if Seattle is there, we would need to win to get that Champions League bid, which is obviously preferred anyway, because if we get a trophy out of this year, no one's going to care about anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, for sure. Which, just to clarify, you did say a moment ago, you said if Seattle wins, we automatically qualify. Just to clarify, you did mean to say if LAFC wins.
Yes, if LAFC wins, we automatically qualify. If Seattle wins, we have to beat them to get that qualifying spot.
Great.
Now, having said that, personally, I'd rather play Seattle.
Yeah, I would agree with that, I think.
We tend to play better in Seattle. Those games are closer. Well, actually, they're not closer. It's usually 3-0 one way or the other. But I don't know. I would rather play Seattle than play LAFC. Although Seattle's kind of been surging lately, so they're doing their typical Seattle end of the season stuff that they do.
Right.
So maybe that's not the right move. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they're only 7 points behind LAFC in the standings. So
yeah, true.
With well, they've played 2 more games than LAFC, so never mind. That makes it worse. No, I would also rather play Seattle. Those are usually closer games for sure. So
yeah. I don't know. It's cheaper to go to Seattle. I looked this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
it'd be cheaper to go there. Not that I'm going to go to either one, but
yeah, I don't know if I could swing going to Seattle.
If I could talk my wife into it, Seattle's cheaper.
There you go.
Only by like $10 though. Well, it would be actually cheaper altogether because the flight itself was $10 cheaper, but it was also 2 days shorter of a trip. In order to get the cheaper flight, we'd have to stay in LA for an extra 2 days. So that would make living expenses more. But
right.
Who knows? I'm not going to end up going either way. But
right, neither.
But it would be cool. I've never seen us win a trophy in person. So
same, yeah.
Also, it would be a shame to spend all that money and not win.
Right.
So
right, that is the problem.
I've done it once at an AFC Championship game.
You have.
And that was in the city I lived in. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine flying halfway across the country to not win. That would be rough. But
yeah, that would be pretty bad.
So I don't know. One last point of order with the Open Cup before we move on to our other stuff. Apparently I didn't put the amount. I believe this is the 5th final under Peter Vermees.
Wow.
I think it's our 5th.
Yeah.
I could be slightly off on that. I'm trying to go by memory. I thought I typed it, so I didn't look it back up. I didn't. I think they said it's our 5th final under Peter Vermees.
It's got to be more than that, honestly.
It might be. I don't know. But do you know if it is 5? Do you know how many of those we have won?
It's got to be 4.
It is 5.
Is it really?
We are unbeaten in finals under Peter Vermees. We have never
I don't think that's
lost a final.
Was the Portland double post game not a final?
So probably, but it would have been Western Conference final.
Right, Portland. Obviously, that would have been
right.
Okay.
So we're talking MLS Cup final, Open Cup final.
Right.
I guess that'd be it because we haven't made a final in Leagues Cup. So
okay.
But in true finals, so not Western Conference final, which now I'm remembering. I think we've had this conversation before because you and I think it was before our podcast, but I remember you and I like talking about, well, is the Western Conference final not a final? And I'm like, technically, no, it's not. If you win, it's not over. So that conversation is finals.
I have a very different memory of that conversation because I think you were trying to argue that it was a final. So I also believe it was on the podcast. So I might have to go back and find that conversation because I remember being very angry in that conversation with you. So
it might have been. I don't remember. But either way, they're talking about finals.
Yeah. I totally understand. Yeah.
Finals. We are apparently unbeaten under Peter in finals.
Interesting.
So
because we've won one MLS Cup since he's been here, and then 4 Open Cups. Well, because when did he start? Do you remember?
I do not. Didn't he win 2 MLS Cups though?
No, because he didn't win the 2000. He may have won that one as a player. Hang on, I'll find out.
2009
was when he joined.
It looks like it, yeah.
Well, then that can't be right because we've only won 1 MLS Cup and 3 Open Cups since then.
Yeah, that's how many we played in.
So it's 4 for 4. You were saying 5 for 5.
Yeah, I said I couldn't remember what the exact number was.
Oh, gotcha.
I thought I remembered 5, but it could have been. But either way, the point was we haven't lost any finals that we've played in under him. So
4 for 4. Nice.
Hopefully we can make this 5 for 5, and be the first team to 5 U.S. Open Cups.
Yeah,
which Seattle would also be competing for if we get there. Pretty sure LAFC does not. No, they haven't even been around long enough to have 4, unless they had won them all in a row. So,
right.
But yeah, Seattle and we, the Sporting Kansas City Wizards with a dog for a mascot, have 4 U.S. Open Cup finals. So,
hey, Sporting, the intern, whoever runs Sporting social media page said my dog is 37 out of 10. So
nice. There you go. All right, let's get to our. We're already at 30 minutes, so let's get to our MVPs and NVPs.
Let's do it.
Who's your MVP from this week?
My MVP, I give it to Steeeve and I thought he looked tremendous. He played really well. In the first goal that Jake Davis scored against Orlando, some incredible fights to retain possession, to keep the play going, not stopping until the whistle. All of the things that every coach loves to say, he's done really, really well. So I thought he looked really well. He played well against Orlando. And then he subbed on in Indianapolis. He didn't score, but I thought he looked well. So, yeah. Steeeve and
Well, not who I thought you were going to pick.
Okay.
I thought 1,000% you were picking Jake Davis.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I do love me some Jake Davis.
Who in defense of him, I personally think is the obvious pick for MVP for this week.
Sure.
Because he had a goal and an assist, and in the Indy game, plus he's out of position. Well, he's not really out of position, but
he's back in his position.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was the obvious choice, so I went with a different one to try to be different from you. But I want to mention Jake Davis because it would be a travesty to not mention him. So,
okay, I love that.
My MVP goes to Daniel Shalhoub.
Okay, good.
1 goal. Yeah. His 100th goal contribution gets all contest. Ends his 728-minute goalless drought.
Oh, wow.
He hasn't scored since May.
Yeah, I mean that sounds right.
Yeah, insane.
It's been bad. How many goals does he have this year? Not many.
2.
2? Yeah.
Yeah. This goal though was after he personally turned over Orlando, got a steal to turn it over, and then he sprinted the full length of the field, received the pass, 1 touch to the left, uses his left foot, which I know our good buddy Jimmy and Daniel over at No Other Pod pointed out. Something about he has like, I want to say it was like 60 some career goals or something like that, and only like 8 of them have been with his left foot.
Nice.
So I don't remember if those are the exact numbers, but it was a very large difference.
Yeah.
But he put it in with his left foot. Just overall hustle, and just shows that, Daniel Shalhoub is Daniel Shalhoub even when he's not scoring.
Right.
Like that kid is always hustling and trying and pushing, and I know we use this term all the time normally as not an insult, but a thing that you and I and most sporting fans roll our eyes at. But he is the definition of sporting fit.
100%.
Like that is what they're talking about when they talk about sporting. It's not just your fitness. It's how much you care, how hard you run, how you never give up on a play. Yep. And sometimes, not very often this year, but you're rewarded with a goal in Daniel Shalhoub's case. So
sometimes. Yeah, I agree.
I love to see that. It's a big reason why I love Daniel Shalhoub so much. So MVP goes to you, good sir.
Fair enough. I love it.
Who is your MVP? And is it obviously the guy with the red card?
It has to be.
Same.
Yeah. There's nobody else who could possibly deserve it.
No, honestly, we played so well all week. Who else would we pick?
Exactly. And it'd be one thing if it was a red card that was like tactical dog so foul or whatever. But when it was such a clear, like, if nothing else, a clear second yellow, then come on. What are you doing?
Yeah, that was a bad one. So
yeah, for sure.
All right. That's all I got for these games.
Okay.
Let's venture over.
Well,
across the city.
We're gonna do that first.
I know you have a newish segment that you want to do. Does it involve sporting, or is it something separate? Should we do it while talking about sporting, or do it after our current corner?
It is a sporting thing, but let's do current corner first.
Okay.
Okay.
Current Spladow. Current corner. Look at that.
Look at that.
The Current had a good week and a bad week.
They did.
They lost their first game back to NWSL play 3-1 to now second place Washington Spirit. They now sit in third place. Yeah. Easily the worst loss of the season out of 2, but I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Definitely not our best game. We did not play well.
No.
And that's all we'll say about that game, because additionally, this actually was last week, but we didn't make an episode last week, so you get it this week.
Whoop.
We are now a championship club with our first trophy in an international, or continuing our international dominance, being undefeated.
Yeah.
Winning the Women's Cup trophy by beating Atletico Madrid in Kansas City on the 17th, our first trophy.
Very nice.
Now, here's where the confusion comes in.
Okay.
Because there's at least one thing saying that this means that this will advance us to the Women's Cup Final Four, which will be next February, to compete against. I'm not really sure. I know Juventus and Gotham won the other 2 Women's Cup tournaments. I can't find the 4th one if it's already been played, or who's playing in it, or when it is.
Right.
I can find absolutely no information on that.
Yep.
So I don't know who the 4th team is, or if there even is one, or if there even is a Final Four tournament anymore.
Right.
The website is the least helpful thing in the world. It doesn't explain the tournament at all. From my understanding, it was supposed to be 4 tournaments. The champions of these tournaments come play in a Final Four for the champion of champions. But if you go on their Instagram, it is incredibly confusing, because for each tournament, it talks about the Women's Cup, and then there's the Women's Cup finals, and then you have a champion, and it's TWC champions. So Kansas City are the Women's Cup champions, but so are Juventus.
Yeah.
And so was Gotham.
Yeah.
So
yes.
I unlike what we normally do on this podcast, did do research and could not find a solid answer. So
yeah. Which also, just for verification's sake, I did also do some research on this because it was also very confusing. And if you go to the Women's Cup website, they're advertising to buy tickets for the match in Kansas City like 3 weeks ago. So
that's what we're working with on research here. The website. This game was played on the 17th, as I said a minute ago. It is the 28th right now as we are recording. 29th when you are listening, because I assume everyone listens on day 1. Duh.
Yeah, obviously.
So this was more than 10 days ago, and the website doesn't even have the tournaments updated that have already been played. So
no, and there's
no information. Yeah,
at all.
I have no idea. Somebody probably knows. If you do, please comment and let us know, or shoot us an email. I really would love to know how this works.
Yes, same.
But I don't know. But what really matters is that our stadium has been open for half a season, and we already have a trophy to put in it.
That's right, we do.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's pick it up in NWSL play, though, so we can win that cup too. That would be just swell.
Right, got to do that.
All right. Hit me with your new segment before we go to everyone's favorite Good, Bad, and Ugly.
Let's do it. So this isn't necessarily a new segment, but just I was looking at some information on the club's site on Major League Soccer's website, and I noticed some things that very intrigued me. So I'd like to see if they are as surprising to you as they are to me, or if I'm just crazy.
Okay.
So I am looking at team leaders in stats in many areas. So first, I'm looking at team leader in goals. I think this one's fairly obvious.
Okay.
Who do you think that is?
Our team leader in goals?
Yes.
Willie Agata?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And second, now how many goals does he have?
7?
Close, 9.
Okay.
Second is Eric Tommy. You know how many he has?
3.
5.
Okay.
But that's not the interesting bit.
Okay.
Here is the interesting bit when it comes to this. I go over to the expected goal number, which we've had our discussion about this.
We sure have.
Who do you think the team leader in expected goal average is?
I would say either Eric Tommy or Alan Polito.
Willie Agata.
Oh, okay.
With 13 expected goals.
Oh, okay.
And I think that speaks very heavily to how much he puts goals way over the bar that are should have been scored.
Yeah, that's fair.
So 13.1. Do you want to know who second is?
Yes, I do.
Eric Tommy with 4.
Interesting.
4.11 expected goal average. I think that's insane. So anyway, take that what you want.
That's a huge gap.
Right? So anyway, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Secondly, though, here's where this thing gets crazy.
Okay.
If you had to guess, who do you think leads our team in assists?
Johnny Russell.
That's close. He's second.
I don't know.
I would give you $1 million if you could guess who this was.
Well, then I have to take at least one more chance here. Is he what would be considered? I realize we have a different lineup literally every game, but is he considered a starter?
I am not answering that question if $1 million is on the line.
Okay. I have 2 thoughts here, but I'm gonna go with Memo.
There's no way that you got that without looking. Yes, Memo Rodriguez.
Wow, I 1,000% did not look. I was just I was trying to think of people who are like kind of starters, but kind of not. And I was between Rosero and Memo. But
how is Memo leading our team in assists?
Yeah, that is weird.
That's wild. And then the guys that I would really expect. I mean, you've got Alan Polito. It's not surprising at 5. Johnny Russell at 5. Radoja at 4. Eric Tommy at 4. But then like Jake Davis at 3. That surprised me. Tim Leibold at 3. Daniel Shallowy. Willie Agata with 2. Like those numbers seem whack.
Yeah.
And then the last one for me that I'm going to talk about is games started.
Okay.
Number 1, I think. Okay, tied for first. There's 2 guys tied for first. One of them I think will not surprise you,
Tim
and that
Melia.
is Tim Melia.
Yeah.
It's still surprising considering he's missed a decent number of games, but okay. Who do you think's tied for first with him?
Is this just MLS play?
I believe this is just MLS play.
I'm gonna guess Jake Davis.
That is a very good guess. It's Rado Ya.
Wouldn't have guessed that because he was out for.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway.
Interesting.
That's the trip down crazy train that is our team leaders and stats. None of this makes any sense to me, but there it is. There's the numbers. There you go. Thanks for going on the ride with me.
Well, it's always a good one.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, speaking of rides, good, bad, and ugly time.
Let's do it.
Go ahead and hit me with your good.
My good. So I have. This is a little bit different, but I have discovered a man on the socials. His name is Kevin Lynch.
Okay.
Now, this guy, if you've not heard of him or heard any of his stuff, you have to look him up. He is a former Premier League referee. He spent many, many years in the league back in the 90s and early 2000s, stuff like that. But this man is hysterical. He is such a good storyteller. He's so good at just telling stories and being funny. But just his stories are hysterical. So thank me later, but look him up. He's on a lot of Facebook Reels and stuff like that. But check him out. He is hysterical. You're welcome. That's my good.
Does he talk about MLS stuff?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well,
as I'm sure you can imagine, Googling Kevin Lynch, not helpful.
That is a very common name.
There's like 6 in here, and I don't think any of them are who you're talking about.
Probably not. But if you Google Kevin Lynch soccer ref, there's several interviews that he's done lately of just full of stories.
Oh, all right, I see him now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's pretty popular on TikTok, but I mean, you can find him in other places.
All right.
Anyway, that's my good. I discovered this guy, and I have been on a treasure trove of watching his videos. He is hysterical.
All right.
So you're welcome. That's a good that'll pay off next week whenever you come back. And anyway, that's my good.
All right. Mine, sticking with our sporting theme here, theme episode, mine goes to Benny Feilhaber.
Oh, yeah.
Who was inducted as a sporting legend, well-deserved.
Agreed.
And was doing his media interview after being inducted while Daniel Shalhoub scored his goal.
Yeah.
And said, "Who's that, Daniel, wearing number 10? And he did it with his left foot? Yeah, still alive and well in the building." Love that. Benny Feilhaber is great. Well-deserved that he's a sporting legend.
Yeah. Kudos for him.
Nice to see him on the wall. So,
agreed.
Future coach?
A lot of people think it.
Yeah, probably. Why not? I don't know. Will it be different? I don't see how, but maybe. I don't know.
I think it'll be different.
But I mean, I 100% understand the argument of, well, he played under Peter for his entire career. Why would his coaching be any different? Yeah, no, that makes sense. But
it does until you start thinking about because he's a different person.
Well, true, but
I don't know. I think it's very assumptuous to assume that. But also, what does it matter? Because the league was very clear.
Yeah, true.
So we'll never find out.
That's true. All right, hit me with your bad.
My bad is we still haven't seen our new signing. Joaquin. How do you say it?
Probably Joaquin.
Joaquin Fernandez. Still haven't seen him yet. It's been several games. Would love to be able to see him play, or at least be on the bench, or I don't know, anything. But that's fine. We'll continue waiting 6 months. That's fine. Don't mind us.
Well, it's weird to, like, I agree with you, but it's weird to think about that we're like, where's our new center back in a week where we didn't give up a goal?
Yeah, that is true.
It's like, well, okay, maybe it's not the end of the world,
Yeah. No, that is totally fair. Hopefully we're not seeing him because he sucks. Hopefully we're not seeing him just because he hasn't played soccer and I don't know, he needs to acclimate, whatever.
Yeah, I think they're in their off season. I can't remember where we signed him from, but I think they're like in their off season still. So
Yeah,
maybe he's
right.
not in game shape yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I know earlier we talked about Rosero. This might have even been before we started recording. You and I were talking about how Rosero played immediately,
right?
But he also was playing in
Mm-hmm.
season when we signed him. So
yeah,
that could be. I didn't think about it when we were talking about it earlier, but if he came from preseason, he may just not be in soccer shape yet because
that is true.
he was sitting on a couch 2 weeks ago. Who knows? You know?
Yeah, he did come from the Turkish league.
Okay.
Which
I assume they probably follow the same schedule as Europe, so they're probably just
right.
getting their season started right now. So
right, I
that's
believe.
probably why he hasn't played yet.
Yeah, I believe the entire rest of the world follows the same schedule except for us. So
Yeah.
not the
To which,
entire.
to be perfectly clear, I'm very glad we don't follow that schedule.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not.
I don't want to play. I don't want to play soccer games in December in Missouri. That sounds horrid.
I would much rather play soccer games in December in Missouri than play soccer games in July in Missouri, which is even more horrid. But I'm a cold weather guy, so
yeah, I guess that is true. But
but anyway,
all right, my bad goes to the Columbus Crew.
Okay,
but hear me out.
I would love to hear this.
My bad goes to the Columbus Crew because I am a Kansas City fan. I'm a sporting Kansas City fan.
Sure.
Columbus is also a small market city.
Oh, okay.
This is a common conversation among many sports,
yeah,
especially in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a small market football team and a small market baseball team.
Yeah, especially in our club as well.
Yeah.
However, if you look at our own small market city,
we have a Chiefs team that is currently an incredible organization.
Yeah.
They turned everything around and have been absolutely going like crazy.
Yeah.
The Royals are currently in the process of doing it again for the second time in 10 years.
Yep.
We have arguably, I put air quotes because I don't think it's very arguable, the best player in baseball on the planet right now in Kansas City.
Oh, you're throwing the bait. I want to hook it so bad, but I'm not going to.
And probably the best football player that has ever played the game.
Oof.
Who also, let me get this part.
Jeez.
Well, I know you think he's overrated, but he's just not, you know? But my point is, that man who is by far the best football player on the planet right now, and again, probably ever, owns the soccer team. He owns Sporting.
Well, he's a minority stake owner in the club.
How much do you own? Same amount as me.
It is not an accurate statement to say he owns the club. He is a small part of the
I get it.
group.
But my point is, he is part of the ownership group in this small market city. He is the epitome example of a small market team making it work. That's my point. And he's on the ownership group of Sporting.
Right.
And we have to sit here. Not only do we get blown out by Columbus twice this year, we have to sit here and watch them just win trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy. And it's like, what are we doing? Like this doesn't, we have the perfect example of a small market team being able to take their teams. We have two of them in our city currently doing it right now.
Yeah.
But our soccer team is just getting blown out by the other example. I don't get it. Like,
I do want to put, I don't disagree with you. Let me be very clear. But I do want to put a couple caveats on the thing, on what you're saying is that in both of the examples you say, both soccer and baseball, I'm sorry, in football and baseball, you have a very large control over what players come to you. You can't tell the best players, you are coming here because I drafted you. You either play here or you don't play at all.
That's a good point.
Whereas in soccer, there is a draft, but you do not acquire the best players from the draft. Most drafts, you do not even see the players that come from that ever. So there is a very big difference because as a whole, acquiring players in soccer is a much more challenging feat than building a team in the NFL where at some level, whenever you're signing players off of out of contract, like you got to be able to woo them in. But a large majority of your players, like you're going to get them because of the draft. So I do think it's not quite an apples to apples example, but I completely agree with what you're saying there. That is, yeah.
And see, the only reason that I get what you're saying, especially with the draft. You're right. The MLS draft is, I guarantee you, at least a third of the people that listen to our podcast are going to go, MLS has a draft?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they do, but they might as well not.
Right.
Because, who cares? And yes, MLB and NFL are the two biggest leagues in those sports. MLS, not even close.
Right.
So I get that. The only thing that I would push back is that those rules that you just said also apply to Columbus.
Right. 100%.
So, and
I would argue more so.
Yeah, exactly. People are at least, nobody wants to go live in Columbus. What state? Ohio. Nobody wants to go live in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. Nobody wants to go live in Kansas City, Missouri either. But I guess, to some credit, if you're an athlete, you probably like sports. So going to a city that has Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, that's at least a little bit of a pull that it's like, well, we do also have the Chiefs. Okay, that's kind of cool.
That is true.
Doesn't seem to matter, though.
Yeah. That does very much highlight the ownership's unwillingness to spend. I mean,
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, I don't know who I don't want to put you on the spot. So if you don't have an answer for this, that's totally fine. Okay. But if you had to pick who you think the best player in the MLS is right now, who would you say?
I think it has to be Messi. I mean,
okay. I don't know why I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Okay. What else would it be?
Okay. So let me reword that. If you had to pick the best player in the MLS that actually plays, who would you pick?
That is a tough one. I don't know if I have an answer right off the bat.
Okay, fair enough. I would say, and I think a lot of people would say, Cucho, who plays for the Columbus Crew.
Right.
So, and I think we could safely say top 5 players in the league for sure.
Yeah. That's right.
It plays for Columbus, so they managed to get him. They also got Diego Rossi. They also have X. They also have Y. They also have I don't know. It's like they're managing to do it.
Right.
And they're on a current run. Now we've had our runs of being, one of or the premier team in the league. We've had our runs, but it's just annoying that we, for the last several years have been stuck in this, mindset of, well, we don't want to spend money, but it just seems like we're okay with being bad because we don't want to spend money. And it's like, just drive across the city and look at the other 2 teams that are spending money and are now winning games. One of which has been doing it for 7-8 years now. 8 years now, actually longer, because even before Patrick, we still, once we got Andy, we turned it around and started winning football games.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why it's my bad, is because it's like, I'm just annoyed that we have 2 other examples in the city, one of which their main player is in the ownership of this team. Yeah. And we can't just be like, hey, Patrick, what do you guys do?
Yeah, exactly.
But also, you could ask me. I can tell you what they do.
Yeah, they're right.
They spend money.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's what John Sherman, he bought the Royals and he said, I want to know what playoff baseball feels like in Kansas City. And in order to do that, we have to spend money. And then he went out and spent money.
Right.
And now, as of right now, well, actually, we played a day game today, and I don't know if we won. But when I woke up this morning, we were in first place in the division.
Yeah.
With 29 games left to go. So it's super simple. Just spend money, and we'll have a good program again.
Yeah.
I know. That's my bad. I watched Columbus win another trophy and have a real good shot to win another MLS Cup this year because they're just so dang good.
Yeah.
And it's super frustrating as a Kansas City fan being like, Columbus is basically just another version of our city. Why are we not doing the same stuff?
That's fair.
So anyway, okay, that's the end of my rant.
Okay.
Hit me with your ugly.
My ugly is going to go to Orlando. Not only did they lose 3-0 to us, but they let us score with a man down. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's fair.
Losers. Anyway, that's my ugly.
Mine goes to Johnny Russell for his late yellow in the Orlando game, just because it was completely pointless.
Yeah, that's fair.
it was for not dissent. What's the unsportsmanlike conduct or something too, which is completely controlled. And yes, the officiating that game was awful.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Truly bad.
Yeah.
But like, what is the point? Yeah. Yellow cards is one of the tiebreakers, and we are currently in a position where it very likely, if we even have a shot to make the playoffs at the end of the season, might be with a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So maybe don't yell at the ref and get a stupid yellow card when that's one of the things, you know?
Yeah.
So
no,
that's an ugly for me. I expect better from a captain. However, he's a Scotsman. What are you going to do?
You're right.
You know?
Yeah, they're Scotsmen are going to yell.
All right. Well, point update. Oh, you got more? Go ahead.
I do have a point of order. The way that MLS does it, which I was just trying to figure this out. Their tiebreaker is fewest disciplinary points. Per match.
So they're all tied together then.
Yes, but they are weighted differently. Red cards are worth a different point value than yellow cards are. So red cards are. It doesn't matter. Reds are reds.
Okay. So then it probably is still better to get the straight red because you don't also get the yellow card. Because I'm pretty sure I remember getting 2 yellows, which equals a red, is actually 3 cards in that for that instance, whereas a yellow and then a straight red would only be 2 cards.
Okay, let's see.
Now the weighting may make that different, but
so a foul is 1 point. Technical staff warning is 2 points. A yellow card is 3 points. A second yellow is 7 points.
Okay.
Straight red is 7 points. So no, it is the same.
Okay.
Coach dismissal is 7, and supplemental discipline is 8.
Interesting.
So
okay, that makes more sense that way anyway. Then
it does. It is still going to hurt us more by getting reds than yellows.
Yep.
So, no, I do like the way that they do that a lot better.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right. Well, I don't have we'll just go to the closing one. There we go. Cool. Point update. I got Orlando game winner right. I also got Sporting. I forgot to add that one. And you got one because you also picked it. None of us got the scores right because offsides is a thing and Polito can't score a penalty kick. So, but I have 21. You have 18.
Yeah. That is.
All right. Next week, we don't play. We don't play again until the 7th of September.
So, no episode next week for everybody. Whoop.
Yeah, I was going to say, so yeah, no episode next week because what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
Nothing. We're going to talk about nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. We do play New York Red Bulls 10, 12, and 4. 42 points. Let me see where they are in the standings.
They are 4th in the East.
Ooh, 4th in the East. Well, that's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a tough game, but
it won't be an easy one.
How do you think this goes?
I go back and forth. But I do think if this were home, I think we win this game. I think on the road, I think we'll be fortunate enough to come away with 2 points. I'm sorry, with 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we draw 2-2.
Okay. 2-2 draw. You should spell draw right. I think this is a very tough game to predict.
Yeah, I agree.
Very tough game because we're playing really well right now. New York also plays this weekend, so we'll be coming off of 2 weeks rest or a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a bad thing, though. That's not always a good thing.
It definitely could be.
Man, I've been struggling with this one. I think I'm going to go 2-1 New York, though, because it's in New York.
Yeah.
I could see 2-1 if we were at home, but
yeah. No, I think that I think that's very likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 New York, which is going to be a bummer. That's going to be a gut punch of a loss, but what are you going to do?
That's going to be bad to get over.
Yeah, so 2-1 New York. Hoping we're both wrong. Obviously, we would like the win, but
yeah.
Cool. All right, well, that's all I've got for people this week.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Again, we will not have an episode up next week. I know, back-to-back weeks with not having an... Yeah, we had an episode, didn't have an episode. Now we have this one. Now we don't have an episode, but I don't know. Blame the schedule makers. It's not our fault.
Right.
So the other option was record last night before the Open Cup game, and then next week we would talk about the Open Cup game.
Right.
Nobody would care by then. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, sorry. Yeah, you can also watch this podcast streaming on the Fired Up Network on True TV app, which you can get on Amazon App Store, Roku, Apple TV on Thursday nights. Same night this comes up on YouTube. Well, ours is in the morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, to be specific.
Ooh.
But we'll continue to cycle throughout the week if you want to check it out. Rest of our links are in the bio in the bottom. They're in the bio on Spotify also, if you're listening on Spotify and not watching on YouTube. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, if you could do us a favor and like it, and can you subscribe on Spotify? Is that a thing? I have no idea.
Yeah, I think you subscribe.
But either way, if you would still go over to YouTube and click subscribe, even if you don't watch the videos, that's totally fine. I mean, I'd love for you to just put them on play in the background. That would help us greatly. But
it would be nice.
If we could get the subscription numbers, that would help us a lot. That would be really cool. But yeah, that's all I got. Anything else you got?
Nope. You follow up. Yes, that's what you do.
There you go. Yeah, that makes more sense. Awesome. All right. Well, Logan, I appreciate you as always.
I appreciate you, Steve.
We'll see y'all next week.
See you, everybody.